Well, back at it again with rambling about my political and religious beliefs on the internet like I have before. The problem is with the world we're living in is that it's corrupted. The problem is you can't find happiness in this world because it's been corrupted. Now, originally, this world was created perfectly by the Lord, but an evil spirit invaded and corrupted it. You see, originally the world was completely perfect. There was no death, even. Nobody died. You know, death isn't actually a natural part of this world, it's an invasive force because originally people didn't die. You know? So because this world is corrupted, the only people who are happy in this world are people who have been corrupted by this evil, corrupted world we live in. If you look at all the happy people in this world, there are people that literally support homosexual marriage. There are people that support uh, kids becoming transgender. Like all the happy people in this world are people who support that stuff. If you look at all the happy people in the world, people with the hugest grins on their faces, the biggest smiles on their faces, they are all supporters of that nonsense. And the reason they're happy is because they've been corrupted and become part of this corrupted world that we are living in. And that is why when you're unhappy, you should be grateful. Because if you're unhappy and you see all this craziness and you know it's crazy and people criticize you for criticizing the craziness, it means you haven't been corrupted. And maybe some people have been corrupted, but they snapped out of the corruption and become awakened. You see, there are people who are the corrupted, and then there's people who are the awakened. And you want to be the awakened. That's what you want to be. Part of the awakened. You need to realize that all this stuff that's going on, it's not normal. What's not normal? Children being put on amphetamines like Adderall and being put on Ritalin because they simply can't concentrate in school. And then all of a sudden, nobody's surprised all of a sudden that people are developing bipolar disorder later and then getting prescribed stuff like Abilify, which can cause impulse control problems. I've heard many people say that psychiatrists are hailing Abilify as some kind of miracle antipsychotic because it's a partial dopamine antagonist. But it causes impulse control problems. It can cause people to become very aggressive. I mean, I know I criticized Risperdal on this channel before, but at least Risperdal does what it's supposed to do if someone really is suffering from psychosis or some kind of mental illness that can cause psychosis. And a lot of these mental illnesses wouldn't have even have started in the first place if kids weren't put on amphetamines back in elementary school when their brains were still developing. But people are just biggest smiles on their faces, walking around thinking it's normal. It's not. It's not normal. But the thing is, when you know it's not normal, you get criticized by the corrupted people, which are the majority in this corrupted world. And like I said before in this video, they are the only ones that are happy because they are corrupted and living in a corrupted world. While an awakened person is not going to be happy in a corrupted world. An awakened person would be happy in a perfect world. And I do believe that God is going to come back, that Ahura Mazda, the wise Lord, is going to come back and fix all this and make the world perfect again. And those people that are corrupted and pass away in their corruption or are still corrupted when Ahura Mazda comes back, when the wise Lord comes back, those corrupted people are going to be taken by the darkness. I believe that God doesn't, torment in a way anyone. He just gives people what they want. And the truth is, a corrupted person wanted to be in the darkness. A corrupted person wanted basically to go with their. A corrupted person wanted to go with their evil master, which is the evil spirit that invaded this world and corrupted it. And the thing is, when the corrupted are not let into heaven, they realize what they've done. But God cannot let a corrupted soul into heaven because they will corrupt heaven. So God can't let them into heaven because a corrupted soul would corrupt heaven. So God gives them what they want, to be with their evil, corrupted master. While if you're an awakened, you get to spend eternity with the Lord, which created this world originally to be perfect before this world was invaded, basically. And me personally, I also feel like we should stop, fighting with each other, whether you're a Christian or a Jew or a Zoroastrian or a Buddhist. I mean, the awaken, it's good to have a religion. In my opinion, atheism is unnatural. If you look at it, even chimpanzees, which are our closest relatives, or some people say bonobos, but I'm just going to use chimpanzees as an example. Me personally, though, I think orangutans are our closest relatives because they have the same number of ribs as us, while chimpanzees have an extra set of ribs. But looking at chimpanzees, they even have a religion, and you can look it up. They show signs of spirituality. So us great apes, we've evolved to believe in something, which is why mental illness increases in atheist societies. So I believe we should stop infighting. If someone sees past the nonsense of this world, we should work together. We shouldn't, infight with each other. If someone that's a Buddhist sees that all this gay marriage and, brainwashing kids to be transgender, if a Buddhist sees that as unnatural and crazy, I feel like they shouldn't be attacked by Christians, just because that person's a Buddhist. Sure, the Christians can have their belief and try and share the gospel with the Buddhist, but I feel like we should work together on the common ground of overthrowing the insanity that this world has plunged into, And as I mentioned before, mental illness increases when atheism goes up. But one thing that's increasing atheism is antipsychotics. Because, and I'm not saying that antipsychotics are completely bad. They could help some people with schizophrenia out. But the problem is, what they're doing is they're putting kids on Adderall. They have a psychotic break eventually. and then they get put on antipsychotics. And antipsychotics, eventually you lose interest in everything, even your religion, which is one of the many reasons atheism's going up. And that's what the communists who have taken over our government want. They want more people to be atheists because they know the more atheists there are, the more people vote Democrat and the more people support a bunch of the nonsense that I mentioned before, like pushing the transgender agenda on kids, which is a complete abomination. Um, and all that stuff increases when atheism increases. And like I said, that's part of what the communists are planning. And they've been doing this since the 90s. I mean, they've actually been planning this really since the 60s. Because the thing is, you cannot brainwash a society like this instantly. What you have to do is slowly brainwash generation after generation. So what happened is in the 60s they had this, cultural revolution in the 60s, and then all of a sudden you get more of this support for the LGBT in the 80s and 90s, and then all of a sudden in the early 2000s, I think one state, I forgot which one, was the first state to legalize gay marriage, and a lot of people were like, oh, what's the harm? They just want to get married, and then they keep trying to normalize more and more things generation after generation. They've been adding subliminal messages into cartoons like SpongeBob, and me personally, I never liked SpongeBob. Well, I liked him as a kid, so I can't say I never liked him. But as an adult, I don't like SpongeBob. He's a bad role model. He's an extremely irresponsible person if you watch the cartoon. So as an adult, I wouldn't, if I ever have kids, I wouldn't let them watch SpongeBob, because SpongeBob's honestly a beta male and a irresponsible person and a completely bad role model in general for kids to look up to. So if I ever have kids, SpongeBob's not allowed in my house for that reason. But you can look at SpongeBob and see all these subliminal messages. And if you watch Disney shows that the millennials grew up with, you also see all these creepy subliminal messages. And that's how they brainwash generation after generation till we're here. Till people think that putting children on puberty blockers is normal. It's not. I mean, if they proposed this stuff in the 1920s, there would be a nationwide riot. If they proposed this stuff in the 1950s, there would be a nationwide riot. Even if they proposed this stuff in the 80s, there would be a nationwide riot and an outcry of rage from even LGBT people saying it's wrong. But now, all of a sudden, you have so many people supporting this stuff, and they're walking around with smiles on their faces. Why? Because they're happy, because they are a corrupted person living in a corrupted world. A world that has been corrupted for a long time. A very long time. Like I said, death originally wasn't part of this world. Death is an invasive force onto this world that we are living in. And I remember that all these people who back in high school were like my counselor trying to get me to join, Gay Straight Alliance, which was a club in my high school before I got sent to alternative school. He was always walking around with a smile on his face, like he was happy. Why? Because, like I said before, he's a corrupted person living in a corrupted world. The reason why I'm unhappy, and the reason why a lot of people who agree with what I'm saying are unhappy, is because they are not corrupted. They are an awakened person living in a corrupted world. Um, so, all I have to say to my awakened brethren, whether you're a Christian, a Buddhist, a Jew, a Zoroastrian, uh, all I have to say is stay strong. And God is coming to fix this world. He absolutely is. So stay strong, my brethren. Stay strong.